welcome to another edition of the SABC News COVID-19 Global Wrap, where myself, Babalolo Phaka, and my colleague Busisiwe Khatebe bring you highlights of stories which dominated news headlines with regards to the coronavirus pandemic. Here is a breakdown of some global stats. More than 8 million cases have been reported worldwide, with over 4.5 million recoveries and over 450,000 deaths. South Africa currently sits at over 83,000 confirmed cases, with over 44,000 recoveries and over 1,700 deaths.
In South Africa, there is a breakthrough in the fight against COVID-19 with the trial of dexamethasone, which is used to reduce inflammation in other diseases. This, according to the health department, will reduce death rates by around a third among the most severely ill COVID-19 patients admitted to hospital. You can now dine in your favorite restaurant or go and watch movies at your nearest cinema after President Cyril Ramaphosa on Wednesday announced the easing of Level 3 lockdown regulations on certain economic activities. These also include personal beauty care services and casinos.
Cabinet has decided to ease restrictions on certain other economic activities. And these activities include restaurants for sit-down meals, accredited and licensed accommodation, with the exception of home-sharing accommodation like Airbnb, conferences and meetings for business purposes, and in line with restrictions on public gatherings.
As the country marked the 44th commemoration of Youth Day on June 16, young people find themselves facing a multitude of challenges exacerbated by the COVID-19 pandemic and mounting unemployment. President Ramaphosa has urged young men to be active participants in the fight against the scourge of gender-based violence. He added that government will strengthen laws to provide greater protection to victims of GBV and ensure lengthy jail sentences for perpetrators. Now to the rest of Africa. The continent has now recorded over 279,000 confirmed COVID-19 cases, with over 130,000 recoveries and over 7,400 deaths. The African Union is launching a new marketplace to allow member states to access critical medical supplies to respond adequately to the COVID-19 pandemic. Resident doctors in Nigerian public hospitals went on strike this week, demanding better benefits as they battle the COVID-19 pandemic. Government has been given 2 weeks to meet demands. Meanwhile, more than 170 of Guinea-Bissau's 2,000 health workers have contracted COVID-19. The tiny West African nation's under-equipped healthcare system has been struggling to curb the spread of COVID-19. And lastly, the World Health Organization says that the development and equitable rollout of a vaccine is dependent on global cooperation.
The estimate roughly now is it could be within the next 10 months and beyond. Of course, scientists are doing their best and to even accelerate it and have it ahead of that.
And now for international news. As states see a gradual reopening, the United States currently sits at over 2.2 million confirmed cases, with over 930,000 recoveries and over 120,000 deaths. According to a CNN report, experts project that Florida, Arizona, and Texas have the markings of the next large epicenter following high single daily increases of COVID-19. And as the situation exacerbates, the Florida Agency for Healthcare Administration says more than 75% of adult ICU beds are now occupied. The COVID-19 pandemic is rapidly expanding in Latin America as the region now accounts for over 20% of global cases. And as cases near the 1 million mark in Brazil, a top official handling the pandemic in the country, Walter Braga Neto, has been widely criticized for stating that the outbreak is under control. And in Asia, the presence of the coronavirus in wastewater plants was confirmed by Japanese researchers, a finding that could signal future outbreaks. The World Health Organization has also urged countries to be vigilant, as the pandemic may reoccur in countries where it first originated. This as China shut down schools and blocked off some neighborhoods following a surge in cluster outbreaks in Beijing. And in Europe, the Spanish government announced a plan with 4.25 billion euros to boost its hard-hit tourism sector, which represents about 12% of the country's GDP. The sector has been the hardest hit by the coronavirus pandemic.
For the latest updates on the coronavirus, visit sabcnews.com.